Hey guys, welcome back, and this is your third tutorial Java. So yes, let's start. Now today we're going to be looking at variables. Yeah, rebel. No. So variables. Now what a variable is a variable is just assigning a letter to a number. So n equals 4. Now these are really useful. They're like placeholders. And say you got loads of code, and rather than typing 21 each time in each line of thousands of lines of code, you could just assign it to letter n, and then say you got those 21s wrong, you'd be devastated because you have to go back to each single one, change it to 22 for example. So you can just put n, and then, because if you know you're going to use it a lot, you can just assign it to n. So you can assign it to n like that, and then whenever you use it, so for example, we can use it in print line, but we don't put quotations to print out a variable. You never use quotations around it, otherwise it would just print out the letter n. We don't want to do that. We want to print out the actual variable. Now the reason why it's got an error is because it hasn't been initialized, but we'll initialize it in a second. So rather than putting 21 and having to change it 1,000 times, you can just set it to n, and if you got it wrong, you just do n equals what it should be. So say it was 21, it should be 23, you just do that, bam, it's changed over 1,000 variables in an instant of a second, or one line of code even. So that's it. Now if you don't believe me that this works, so n equals 23, and it'll print out 23. See, now if I was to put quotations around it, it would just print out n because it's a string of text. Whereas if it didn't have any quotes around it, would go, oh no, this isn't a string of text, and there's a variable that says it's n, and this is a variable. So let's print out the variable, which equals 23. So that's what it is. Now, yeah, that's it. Now you can do loads of stuff with this. So that's an int. Now I didn't explain what an int is. An int is an integer. An integer is a whole number. It's not anything with decimals in it, but if you wanted to do decimals, you could do a double, which is, so I can do this, 23.21312, but if I was to change this to an int, it would just be 23. Now even it would actually just give us an error. Simple. So you can't put actual decimals into an integer. See? This was that had L in it, which it's not supposed to have. But that's the difference between an integer and a double. There's also longs, floats, there's loads of different ones, about 8 I think, but not really loads, but yeah, that's just the basics of it. Those are the main two that we'll be using, because longs are really insufficient for, they're really bad for not using so much RAM. They would just overdo it really. We never tend to use those. But that's what a variable is. Now, let me show you how to use multiple variables. So one thing I didn't also say is you can use these in the same line of code. So we can do int n equals 22. So we can initialize it on the same line of code rather than ending it on this, then putting it here. That's actually more letters than you would be typing it if you would declare it here. But the reason why this isn't you're allowed to do this is because, say it's equal to 22 up here, but you're already down all the way over here, and you want to change it to something. You can just put n. You don't have to put int, because that'll give you an error. You want to put n equals 24. Now if I was to print this out, it would print out 24 because we're overwriting this. But if I was to do this, it wouldn't let us overwrite it because it's a final int. Yeah, you get me? So that's what it is. Now if it was down here, we can actually overwrite this. Apparently not. Refine. Oh yeah, we didn't get rid of the final. But it was, yeah. Now public static, that would only be declared if we were outside of this main method, like this. Yeah, so it's public static final int. Now what these mean is public means that all classes can use it. Static means that you don't have to create a variable to access the create an object to access this. You'll find out what an object is later in the episodes. Final means that you can't overwrite it like I just did with this one. And int is the type of the type of variable we're using. So that's what it is. Now it's the same in here. Public means that it's like public to every class. Static means that you don't have to create an object to access it. Void means it doesn't return any data. And public class, this returns data, but it just, and you do need to make a object to access it, but it's a class. So yeah, so it's just saying it's a class and it's public to all other classes. Okay, so that's about it. Now let's make another one. Let's call this int x, and let's set this equal to 23. You can use this for calculation, so you can do answer. You can also make one called answer. Set this equal to n plus x. So you can use variables within variables. So int answer, and then we're putting these two variables. We're adding 22 and 23 together, and what will that equal? Yep, you guessed it. Not that. We didn't put answer in here. You guessed it. It is 45. There you go. So that's it. That's basically variables in a nutshell. I think we'll look at these further, but at the moment I think we can look at something different. So thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.